Much better. Okay. Hello and welcome to the HH Hollow Herald Podcast Halloween edition. I am Eric, your host for this very special podcast. We're very festive here at the Hollow Herald. You might have noticed by our sweet decorations, set design. Set design sounds way more professional than decorations. Anyways, we got a little bit of a short cast for you guys because it's just me and us today. We don't have our Switcher and we don't have Paul, so we're the only ones that could get away for Halloween, but we decided we still got to make some content for you guys because, let's get real, what else do you guys have better to do than come watch the Hollow Herald podcast?
They got a lot of things better to do. Trust me.
I bet.
I have a lot of better things to do.
I don't know about that. Do you?
Well, after this.
after this. Then we'll go party. We'll just get this out of the way. And yeah, so I'm not Pennywise. I'm just a clown.
Dimewise.
There's a clown that was a serial killer. What was his name? John Wayne Gacy.
You're John Wayne Gacy?
Is that who was a clown that was a serial killer? I think I'm John Wayne Gacy, if I'm anybody. Because a clown doesn't define me, I define the clown. And that's a very important thing. Anyways, and I'm joined by the dude, the one, the only, the dude. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, they call me the dude. Big Lebowski. Glad to be here. Sit back and grab a White Russian and enjoy this episode.
We're big Lebowski fans.
I mean,
we got posters. We watch the movies. We quote it all. It's a great flick if you guys haven't seen it. Anyways, we got our cool props. We got our controllers with a pumpkin. We got Spider-Man wearing a Acer headset, and we got this freaky guy that you can't see very well wearing a HoloLens that is very precariously perched, so we're not going to touch him. Being choked very hardcore by this thing.
I mean,
I used to wear this when I was like 12.
Just for fun?
Yeah. No, I actually did. You could fold it down. Anyways, let's get into the news. There's actually a lot of mixed reality content to cover, specifically around our favorite topic, Magic Leap. That's probably the biggest thing that's been happening the past week. Is right when we were in the middle of our podcast last week, they dropped their new website. So it's been a whole week past since they dropped their new website, and it's looking really freaking cool, actually. I like the change a lot. It's much different than from what it was before. It actually looks a lot like reminiscent of the holograms from the HoloLens, which I think is kind of cool. But it doesn't have the huge like whale jumping out of it and stuff like that. What do you think of it? Did you get a chance to look at it?
Just briefly, like, they got a lot of like symbolism in their website, and a lot of like, I don't know, it's strange.
It's an art project. There's a lot put into it, you know what I mean?
Basing it around the arts, which, sure.
Whatever works for them. We'll see. It's super cool, though. We actually, right before we got on the podcast, we got to talk to Noah from the Magic Leap Club. I really need to figure out what their actual title is. Anyways, from the Magic Leap Discord, if you could join it. Also, Magic Leap Reddit, you guys could go join there. There's lots of like conversation going on and lots of news about all this stuff because they dropped the website, and it actually turns out there's like tons of Easter eggs on it, like a bunch, and really hard to find ones. Not just like, oh look, a guy holding a balloon, that's an Easter egg to this. It's like actual ones where you have to solve it, like puzzle Easter eggs. They look really cool. And so we got to talk to him a little bit about that. We won't go super in depth to it because I think we'll probably have them on and they'll do a much better job of describing it than we ever could. But I mean, we can mention it. So there's like this. So they dropped the website and people just start looking around it and stuff like that. And these guys are actually the ones that found it. The people on the Magic Leap Discord, if you guys want it. Noah will probably drop a link to it down below. You guys can join it. There's tons of discussion going on about that kind of stuff. And I don't know, this must have been like a fervor. This is like a wet dream to them. This is like a dream come true. Because we've been waiting for stuff for so long. I mean, this is the first thing, like, first substance Magic Leap has given us in probably like a year or so.
And it's kind of cool how they're doing it. Like, of course, I'm wary of what they're doing, but I think it's interesting the way they're approaching it, being really secretive and kind of just going with what people have labeled them as, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely not what we're used to from a marketing company, you know? So I find that really awesome. I'm excited to see what the direction goes with it, and first off, just some of the Easter eggs they found, where if you go to the 404 page, and there's a TechCrunch article that we could post to it, but we don't have any technology around us right now. There's a TechCrunch article. If you just search TechCrunch Magic Leap website, it'll pop up, and it talks about them really in depth, and you can go try them for yourself. But it's like you go to the 404 page of the website, and then you type in a little command, and then boom, a bunch of No. I'm skipping a whole step, aren't I?
Yeah, so you type it in, go to the 404 page, and then there's a blinking light.
Like a light bulb.
That's in Morse code.
But it doesn't look like it's in Morse code. It doesn't blink for a while. You have to sit on there for a while, and then it just starts blinking randomly. It looks random to me, at least, because I don't know Morse code. But apparently it translates to...
Fudge?
Fudge?
Something.
Which is something from his TED Talk, which is like a reoccurring concept for Magic Leap. I don't know why. Noah could probably tell us. We'll get them on. They'll do a much better description of doing it, but we'll just kind of cover what's been happening up to this point. It says fudge, and then if you go back and listen to the TED Talk, he talks about fudge, and it translates to something or something crazy like that. Anyways, then you go to the 404 page and you type something in. It's like it's a random set of keys. Well, it's not random, but to me it's random. And then binary pops up, right?
Yep. And it's to a address, right?
An address to a it's the longitude and latitude of, is it longitude, latitude?
Yeah.
Is that how it works in space?
It's a location.
It's a location for a planet that symbolizes something. And then Noah says he's actually working on the conspiracy theory a little bit farther, and he thinks that a lot of people think that's where it ends. It just ends at the planet, but he thinks there's more to go off there. And so he's guessing that there's some correlation between this planet and the month of December. I can't remember what he said exactly, but and so even more evidence pointing to a popular release in December, which is what we've been kind of gearing for quite a while now. But that's kind of cool to see solidified information. There's a bunch of crazy stuff that I heard. I heard there was like a certain phone number that if you called it at Magic Leap, it would give you to a dead end or something like that, and it would say something, and you could figure out that there was going to be a live stream from that. There was a bunch of conspiracy theories going on around the website and around a bunch of stuff, and it was really exciting. But apparently a lot of that was fake, and Magic Leap even came out and said, wow, we wish we thought of that. There's not going to be a live stream or a release date or anything like that.
Would have been awesome.
Would have been awesome to see something. But I'm guessing a month or two here, they're going to have to release something, because they just raised like another $500 million or some crazy amount like that, which seems like nothing now compared to what they've already raised. I mean, not another $500 million. They I don't know. How much funding? Can you Google it? Are you up? Or do you have Google right there? You can look up how much they're raising on there. It's insane, though. My costume's falling apart. Anyways, now that Magic Leap stuff's out of the way, once we get that information up, or is it not going to get up? We don't have any. This is really rushed podcast this week. We're an hour earlier than normal, so sorry for everybody that's listening. But it's what you get on holidays. Should be happy we're here. Happy you guys are here. Thanks for joining us.
6 billion.
6 billion?
Yeah.
No way. I thought it was close to a billion. 600 million?
So seriously, what makes Magic Leap worth its new 6 billion valuation?
No. Screw Magic Leap. We're off Magic Leap. That's our drama for the week. We started out with it. We're going to get the real guys that know what's going on. We did not follow it close enough to be talking about it, besides just mentioning it and what's going on for you guys to do your own research. But we're going to get the professionals on soon. It's going to be good. It's going to be awesome. And yes. Anyways, moving on. Since it's Halloween, and Halloween's focused around scariness and treats, I was thinking we could discuss some of the impact mixed reality, VR, and AR, the dark side of it, impact that it could have on the future. We always talk about how cool of a future it might be and everything, but we rarely discuss some of the drawbacks from that. So maybe take a little bit more of a Black Mirror approach for this episode, and I want to hear what you guys have to say too. What are some of the drawbacks of mixed reality, augmented reality, virtual reality, any type of reality, and its impact that it could have, and not necessarily good ones? Is there anything that you can think of off the top of your head?
Probably people being in the VR world for too long.
Oh, just like zoning out and going inside the other one?
And then dying.
Get your mouth up really nice and close to it.
I can't because you
Then lean into it.
I'm relaxing.
Or talk louder then. See, we can hear my voice when it echoes, but we can't hear yours.
Sorry, guys.
There we go.
So, yeah, just like people being super lazy. That's a negative drawback of VR.
What if they have like jobs in? Well, do you think there could be like jobs in virtual reality? I just read an article about people in Uganda or some place like Spain or something like that that are playing RuneScape professionally to make money because they can't find jobs. So they just go play RuneScape, mine gold, and then sell it to people, and that's their new jobs. They make like $2 an hour or something doing it, which is still better than what they can make not doing it.
That's interesting.
I wonder if we could see a future like that. That's kind of sad, though,
Yeah.
that you have to play RuneScape, just mine gold on RuneScape. Because we've all had our RuneScape days. That gets boring after like 30 minutes.
Eric still has his RuneScape days.
I want to play RuneScape again, but I get back on, I'm like, this sucks, and then I get off.
Let's see. I mean, it could be like those videos that we've talked about in the past, where it's just like so heavily marketed and like just ads everywhere in your virtual and real reality space.
Oh yeah,
It's distracting.
That's a big one with augmented reality, I know. Especially when like real holograms get real. But until that point, like augmented marketing could just be so in your face that it's insane. I mean, you see how it is on websites. You open up a website, and even Google came out and said, okay, we're going to start docking websites that have in your face ads that ruin the experience of the web page. I think once augmented reality and mixed reality becomes more mainstream, there's definitely going to be like rules and standards put in place to not have that be in your face, because there's nothing for you. You can't do anything to get it out of the way unless you freaking jailbreak your device or whatever it is, and even then you're probably be missing out on some of the features.
Right.
That's a big one. But I don't know, what do you think is a possibility? I think that's actually probably one of the higher possibilities of bad things going wrong with it. Have you seen the movie Surrogates?
No.
With Bruce Willis?
But I think I know the plot.
Yeah, it's like people can just like get inside these beds, and then there's like ultra realistic dolls. So it's like this weird hybrid of reality. Like they're controlling these robots that go around, but they're controlling them, and they're in the real world. But they're like seeing everything in virtual reality, and it's got like chemical boosters and all this stuff. So it's actually like them. Here you go, Swin Money. You're gonna make me break my zombie thing. I spent forever to set that up.
I don't think it was that. It's just not enough weight.
That's all right. So you ruined my train of thought.
You were talking about surrogates and
Oh yeah,
zombie thing.
So the zombies. I was talking about zombies.
You weren't?
This says zombies on it.
Oh yeah.
Caution, zombies. This is a train wreck already. I'm sorry about this, guys. This is completely terrible. We should have been more prepared. Anyways,
It says assholes will be watching movies, porn while driving. That is a negative effect.
that is a negative effect. How do we know they're not already doing that? I can guarantee truckers are just doing other stuff. But we're seeing this weird progression. That's a good point. Like driving a distraction, like the level of distraction. Like you could be in your world and look like you're not, because now you can tell when someone's like not focused, they got their phone down, they got it out. But no, you could be like completely in your own world. Mm-hmm. Like that guy at the airport we saw that was completely sitting off at the side of the airport in his VR world. That's a little bit more obligatory. You can see it right there. But when the glasses get to gain more technology, you won't even know. There's no way you would even tell. But with driving, at least they're like progressing at the same rate. Like self-driving cars are coming basically at the same rate of mixed reality. I kind of see them in hand-in-hand technologies coming around the same time.
Yeah. Shoot. What was that? I had something that I was going to add. Keep going.
Ocean man, take me by the hand.
Shoot. It was good too.
I'll let you think about it for a second. Anyways, where I was going with the surrogates thing is I wonder if we'll see like a hybrid of conglomerates, because what happens in the movie is there's like a faction of people that are not for it. They're like anti-robot, and then there's the people that are just, that's their lives. I wonder if we could see an outlash from people that get like, I don't want to say VR addicts. I guess that's essentially what it would be, but I don't know if that's their lifestyle of choice is in VR rather than real life, which I think is very plausible. I mean, especially with the ability to record holograms that Microsoft has been working on.
Right.
I mean, you've seen how high resolution those graphics are. They're insane. I mean, with processing power and everything getting to that point. And did you watch that video I put out of not No Man's Sky? What's the other game?
Star Citizen?
Star Citizen, yeah. Did you see it? Did you watch that for a second?
No, but I know what it is.
I mean, yeah, they're releasing like a whole open world version of it now. It's already open world, but I mean, where you can go down in the cities and stuff like that. And I mean, that honestly seems like a way cooler place to live than where we do now. And if there's a way to make a living and to do everything I need there, I mean, that looks freaking cool. And those graphics are insane. I mean, we're really on the cusp of that. We just need like internet speeds and everything to get there. I don't know though. I'm kind of torn. Like, if that's your lifestyle choice, I don't. Are we like? Do we have any right to tell people like you can't live inside of a VR world? You have to come out inside of the real world and stuff like that.
I think within good reason. Like if it's posing a risk to their health, then we should suggest things. But yeah, you can't really just force them to not do that.
Exactly. I mean, there's already a lot of people that live inside of video games. Essentially, that's like their escape and their way to get away. So I don't see VR as any different. I actually see it probably as more healthy because we talk about that a lot with VR. When someone's doing it, it's like four of us just sitting around watching one person play with our VR play with our VR stuff, and it isn't as social as you would like it. At least I feel that way. Is that how you feel?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I don't know. It kind of creates a lot of drawbacks, but at the same time, I mean, if we all had VR devices, that would almost be like we're closer in a sense, because like we can control our world more and have more control over it. I don't know, and we can actually be in a space even when we're not in a space. Like with Paul's really far away. I think that connects us closer more, actually, the fact that we could be in the same virtual space. It's not, in reality, it's a virtual space is not much different than a real space if you think about it.
That'd be interesting. What if there was a high up official, right? And like a CEO or something. He had like a HoloLens and like he used it to map out his office space or whatever. And what if like hackers got into that and they were able to like figure out a way to breach into it and steal like a hard drive or something
in his virtual space?
Well, like they know the layout of his office because it's scanned in.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, you're posing another. Okay, that's a good point. Okay, so like privacy. That's a good point. Privacy. So with everywhere being scanned in 3D space, I know people were really worried when like Google Earth came out. People were trying to figure out how to get their houses blacked out, and they didn't want directions to their places, and they didn't want street address. And then people even freaked out more when Street View came out. Like, I mean, I don't think about it because we've basically grown up with it, but that's quite an invasion of privacy. It's your public front-facing house. But at the same time, imagine now if like you go Street View and you look at someone's house and you can look at like the 3D layout of that house in there. And not even 3D, with stuff like, I can't remember the app, but there's an app, Data Mesh, or no, it's not Data Mesh, it's someone else. But it's an app and it actually lays like RGB pictures over the 3D spatial mapping, and it looks like a one-to-one of your house. You basically have a 3D one-to-one of your house, and that poses a lot of privacy concerns. Do you think that's something that people are going to be willing to accept, though, just for the convenience?
Well, I know they didn't with like Google goggles or Google Glass.
Oh, there's a big backlash on that.
Yeah, like especially like with gambling and stuff.
Oh yeah, like they weren't allowed at casinos and stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, like all technologies, people just were like, "Oh, okay, it's coming. We can't stop it, so we'll deal with it." But yeah, there's certainly a risk to that.
Do you think it's enough to like hinder it though, or do you think it's some the people just be like, "I want this, so I'll take it"? Like with Google Home,
I'm sure there will be a couple cases of it like affecting someone, but it won't be like detrimental to the technology.
Interesting. That's a really good point. I don't think it'll stifle the growth or anything, but privacy is a big concern, especially with having, like we already have, I don't get why people get so worried about Google Glass. It's like everybody already has a camera on their phone, right? I don't get why everybody's...
I think it's the fact that you can't really tell that they're filming.
That's a good point. Like, we walked around HoloLens. We still have footage from HoloLens in public. It didn't turn out super well, so we never released it. But of me just walking around and recording people, and there's no way they know that I'm recording them.
Yeah.
I don't think...
Unless you know that light means the HoloLens is recording.
Which the more it becomes... That'd be kind of weird, though. Like, if you're sitting on a bus and all of a sudden, like, you saw someone's light pop on and they're recording you. I don't know. You're in a public space. I just guess we got to be more conscious of what we're doing and what we're wearing and what we're saying and stuff. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's definitely a good thing. But that's a good one. This is good one. Privacy could cause a lot of problems. Is there anything in the comments? Anybody say anything worth noting?
No. I don't think anyone's even watching.
Some people stop in and then they'll leave.
Well, there's 5 watching now.
Oh, well, welcome to the podcast. Please leave comments of dangers of mixed reality and augmented reality and virtual reality. Yeah, I think we hit on some of the big ones. Let's try to think of some niche ones. Some very spooky aspects of mixed reality. Okay, what about Project Rena? So that kind of goes a little bit on the VR line. It's kind of a hybrid between the two. Let's say they develop an AI that is like unattached, like Google Earth. Could we value that as like a real relationship?
I know he did in
Her?
Blade Runner.
Well, Blade Runner, yes. So Blade Runner and Her are both great movies that explore this.
So, I mean, for some people, yes, I think. But for other people, if they like, I think they wouldn't. It depends on the person.
Kind of like everything.
Yeah.
Kind of like everything. I wonder if that'd be interesting. Like if you could get married to an AI. I know in Her it does that. But the idea with AIs is that they'll like transcend us. To an extent, they'll get to a point where unless we stop them, they'll just transcend us. And I think
Cortana died.
Oh, she got too smart and left?
Yeah, well, she
Chief and Cortana, another relationship in artificial intelligence.
Like, she knew too much, and she, that's what killed her.
That's like the plot of Her. Like Her, he dates her for a while, and then she gets too smart, and she starts, like, dating other AIs, and he gets, like, jealous, which is kind of interesting. It's like, if an AI is dating an AI, it's such an interesting idea to explore. But my main idea is the fact that if it's just an AI that you can talk to, it seems kind of like far in distance, but like if it actually had like a hologram where everybody could see it walking around, that almost gives it like a weird humanistic, like we humanize things so quickly. Like our Google Home, like when we talk to our Google Home, we'll say, oh sorry, if you say, we have one here, so I'm going to try not to set everybody's off. But if you say, okay, device, whatever that device may be, and you mess up, you're like, you apologize, or you'll yell at it like you're mad at it. But it's just a freaking computer. It's nothing different. But just because it has a human voice and everything, we humanize it so fast. And now imagine if like Cortana popped out of the top of Microsoft just released theirs. Imagine if Cortana popped out of the top of there and she was actually like walking around and talking to you and stuff like that. You would have humanized that so fast, and it would really draw the line. It's like that one. What was that one website we covered forever ago? It was like people for better treatment of robots.
Yeah, it was like preparing for the future of this world of AI. Like, do they get rights or not?
Robots and AI and all of that stuff. It's like, where do we draw the line? The ethical people for the ethical treatment of artificial intelligence or something like that. And they referenced like, man, I wish we could pull it up.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I highly recommend if you're interested in like AI stuff and like super intelligence, get the book Super Intelligence. It's actually got some really interesting concepts in it.
We normally have it right here.
Yeah.
It poses a lot of that kind of question, right?
Yeah. Like the first chapter talks all about that. Like if we create this and problems come up about it, like how do we resolve those problems? We need to like see all the problems first and then create it.
Exactly. I know there's like Elon Musk and Sam Altman building, I can't remember the name of it. My brain's dead right now. OpenAI, and it's a whole organization with millions and millions and millions of dollars donated to it just to make AI standards before we actually make the AI. So they're like the ones that are helping people build artificial intelligence, but also with like good standards and rules so it doesn't destroy us. It's building up AI in a meaningful way so there's not harmful AI. And harmful AI can be a lot of things, not just like Terminator-style AI, but
iRobot.
even AI is like self-driving cars. When a car is driving, it only has two options. It can either kill the driver, or it can kill. I mean, it can either kill the passenger or it can kill the pedestrian. What's the decision it has to make? Even ideas that are posed like that—that's a very hard ethical question to ask, and to explain that to a robot is even harder. But then to add another layer onto it, if we start seeing our cars as like people. Like, they have AI, they talk, blah, 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 they can think, they can process, they can do all this stuff. It's like, then who are we to tell the AI what it can do and can't do at the same time? It's just weird. It's going to be a weird, interesting future. And we're on the cusp. I think it'll still be quite a while. I used to think it was going to be, like, really quick, like the next decade or something like that. But I'm thinking we're, like, a few decades away. But definitely in our lifetime, we'll see a lot of these questions being posed, I think, for reals.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with that. We are progressing.
The ethical treatment of the holograms website's really funny. There was like a guy that built an AI to play like Mario Kart or something like that, and to learn to play Mario Kart, and they were like saying that this is unfair to make the AI just like slave away playing Mario Kart for hours and hours and hours for hundreds of hours.
It's ridiculous.
It's
just electricity.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
It's a joke website, but I mean it poses some good thought experiments to think about and such. Let's think, what else is there? There's got to be some other really like spooky mixed reality, augmented reality stuff that we're glancing over. The death of blank.
How about the death of the cell phone? Isn't that kind of scary?
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a really good one, actually. Yeah, because we keep thinking phones are going to die. I think I'm so curious to see how people are going to go, because we're moving away from phones and we're moving away from that technology.
I feel like that's going to be such a hard transition. I mean, people struggle upgrading from 7 to 10, Windows 10, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So if we're going to move from the traditional graphical user interface to a mixed reality user interface, like, that's going to be scary.
Exactly. I think you're super right. And the transition, I guess we don't have much to measure either, too. We don't have much to measure like how people react to transition of technologies like this, because we went from like nothing to computers, and that took a while, but people love computers. And then we got phones, and I think that was like probably the biggest transition in computing, was from going to computers to mobile phones. And the phones was very quick. I feel like it was a very rapid change. Like, we didn't have it, and all of a sudden we have it. Like, I don't remember a time where there was like this weird, like, oh, you get, like, people were debating to get an iPhone or not. You know, everybody wanted the new smartphones. I know when the original iPhone came out, people were like, get BlackBerry. What the heck is the point of that? That's weird.
Yeah.
But people jumped right onto it. So, I don't know. It could go either way, but people are addicted to their phones.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people don't want to admit it, but try to go a day or two without your phones and just using a computer, and a lot of people run into a lot of problems. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if do you think do people use their phones for the applications that are on it, or for like the ease of use that it provides? Because a lot of those applications you could get on a computer, but at the same time, I mean,
I think it's the fact that it's with you wherever you go. Mm-hmm. And it's in that small form factor to be able to just quickly communicate with what you need to communicate with, you know? And that's what makes it so great. Yeah.
No, I think you're definitely right. It provides it. Do you think if we say no more phones, only like laptops, do you think there'd be a big outcry from that, or people would be like, okay, I can transition away from my phone pretty easily in a hypothetical universe?
No, I don't think people would like that at all.
That is a good point, because the ease of use. I think the transition from phones will have to be effortless. It'll literally have to be like upgrading from an S7 to an S8, where you just plug one into the other and you get the faster processor and everything like that. It'll have to be almost effortless and like dumb that you don't do it. But it's not going to be that way for the first few years. So there'll be this weird pseudo period where some people will have it and some people won't. Transition periods are always weird, especially in technology. And I think we're on the cusp of that right now, that transition period. And I wonder what we can do as a community and as the people making the technology to make that more approachable to people, that transition. Because right now it's very intimidating.
Like, honestly, I don't see people wanting to walk around with a HoloLens on their head all the time, though.
So
like they would a cell phone. They would carry that around all day, 24/7. I don't see me walking around with the HoloLens on my head 24/7.
what if the form factor was like your pair of glasses, though?
Then, yeah, probably. But it would have to be like my glasses, and that's packed with technology.
We were talking about that. You said phones, like you prefer a smaller phone after you transition to a bigger phone, and now you have a smaller phone. Why do you prefer the size?
Just portability. It's more comfortable in my pocket, to be honest. And I don't need the bigger screen for watching videos and stuff. So it's just personal preference.
What about both? What if you could use both? Because I think that's where we'll be for a long time. I don't think phones are going anywhere anytime soon. I think we'll see both in addition. Like we were talking about with VR, it'd be nice to hold up your phone. Like we see AR demos all the time where you have your phone, you hold it up in front of you, and it expands a bunch more stuff around your phone. That seems like a nice attainable universe.
I feel like I would replace my personal computer before my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel like most people would. I don't think you're in the minority with that. Because I know a lot of people don't even use personal computers anymore. If they do, it's some dinky piece of crap, and then they upgrade their $800 phone every year, you know? So that's a very good point. But, I mean, I wonder now, because VR is a good example of this, because we've seen this weird resurgence of VR technology. It was really, really big for a year, and then it dropped down really hard, and now we're back up at that cusp. And now it feels a little bit more in our face because we're in the community, but I've seen Microsoft hamming it up. I've seen, who is it? Vive hamming it up. And I've seen Oculus, even Oculus, Microsoft. Mark Zuckerberg's been pushing VR super hard. It's getting like this weird research. I wonder if now is like the time to adopt VR. I was thinking about making a video about that. Do you think now is the time to get into VR? I think it'd be a good video to explore.
If you want to.
If you want to?
I mean, you don't have to.
So, like, let's say you wanted to get VR, but you just don't want to spend the money and you haven't been wanting to spend the time. Is now the time to get into it where it's finally worth your buck?
I think it is for the majority of people because, I don't know if the majority of people use Microsoft, but they've created this whole, this is something that Apple doesn't offer. They've created this whole, mixed reality ecosystem that's VR, MR, and it has all these tools built in, plug and play, really simple for the average user. I know, when the Oculus was just coming out and stuff like that, it was a lot of setup. It was a lot of trial and error, getting the right specs.
There weren't a lot of games.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of games, but now we got plenty of games. We got this whole ecosystem. It's plug and play and ease of use for the average consumer to just buy a headset and go at it.
And honestly, you can build a VR ready computer for like $500.
Yeah, and most people's computers nowadays can actually run VR.
If you bought a brand new computer 2017 that actually has not onboard graphics, that has some form of graphics card in it, you're probably good. You could probably run VR, at least a fun version of VR. Maybe not the super heavy intensive stuff, but not a lot of people want that too. I wish there was more free games. So we got our Acer headset, and we finally got to play around with it. We got the new controllers here. It's been a good old grand time. It's been really fun. There's not many free games. I'm really I like free. I think that's very hard for me to commit a bunch of money to a headset, then a bunch of money to controllers, then a bunch of money to building a nice computer that can run it, and then $40 a game. That's just too much, it's so hard because developers spend so much time and they need to make money, but at the same time, I'm not going to even look at it or buy the game or try the game unless it's very cheap or almost free.
There's just got to be the few community leaders that buy those games though, so it can be free for the rest of us.
Like Slack. Exactly. No, that's a good point. I bet that could work. If we got a dumbed down version of the game, and then we couldn't access 4K or 90 frames a second. We could only access 60 frames a second. But if you pay, you could get that tier. I think I'd like to see some tier like that because it's just hard. Because I want to experience it, and I know if I did experience it, I'd maybe give it a more shot. But I don't know. So I think now is probably a good time for VR. I think if you're interested in VR, and if you have friends that are interested in VR, now is a good time for you to show them all the devices that are capable and all the games and everything like that. So it's a great time to do it. I'm gonna make sure everything's going good on OBS, so you can banter and answer any.
All right. I'll see if there's any comments.
Oh shit, man.
Nope, no comments.
It's way different than our normal time. Normally we'd just be starting now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been going for 30 minutes.
Is that what it says?
Well, we started at like 6:30, didn't we?
Right around there. Well, that was probably a good Halloween quick cast. We'll probably add in a little bit of extra something for the pre-recorded version. But anyways, thank you guys for joining us, and thank you guys for sitting along with our podcast. And I hope you guys either are going to have a happy Halloween, or you had a happy Halloween. We like Halloween a lot, so we're gonna go party. We're gonna go to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Are you ready?
Heck yeah. Classy theater. Costumes.
Rice. We gotta get rice. We gotta get toast.
Rice and toast. What is the truth?
Water.
behind that?
So there's like a wedding scene where everybody throws rice in the air. I have no idea what the toast is for, though.
We gotta get toast.
And you have to yell at the screen a lot. I don't know. I'm freaking ready.
Dude,
we're what you would call virgins. So it's gonna be fun. But anyways, thank you guys for joining us. This has been episode 35. I didn't say that at the beginning. But yep, we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Take it easy.
Man, take me by the hand, lead me to the land that you understand. Oh shit, man, the voyage to the corner of the globe is a real trip.